Are you ready to take your organization to the next level and become a game changer in your industry? Then look no further. Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, where we bring you the world's top business thought leaders to share their secrets to success, from leadership development to finance, marketing, self-development, human resource management, and much, much more. Our guests reveal the strategies, tactics, and mindsets that have made them so successful. So let's dive in and learn from the best in the business. Hello, and welcome back to another very special episode. I'm so excited that you have joined me here, and I know you've been listening for a long time because I can see from the interaction in the community that a lot of people keep coming back and wanting to learn more, and I know you're also doing the same thing. And Bill, today we've got a great interview, and I know you were asking earlier on to cover the mistakes. And today, that's what we are going to be talking about, the mistakes that people do. Sometimes they don't even know they're making mistakes in this area, but our expert today is going to reveal to you what those mistakes are and how you can avoid them for certain. Now, before we bring our guest here today, I want to remind you of two things. Number one, our leadership training mentor, Trevor Stockwell, is around in the community. And if you see him active in there, ask him about leadership training that he has. He's got an incredible training program that produced tremendous results for the business owners. So reach out to Trevor Stockwell in the community and find out more. And secondly, our podcast training. I know some of you want to know how to start a podcast, how to scale a podcast, and how to monetize a podcast. Because, we've been doing all these three, and we are doing it even at a larger scale today. So we created a program so that we can show you how to do that. So if you need that, again, go into the community where there is more information and we'll be able to help you. Now, that out of the way, let's go and talk to our guests. Again, as we always do, we bring the very best of the best, to come and help us, because we know when we've got the best guest here, you're going to act on their knowledge and you're going to get results, which is what we are all about. And my guest is truly outstanding. And, we've been looking at their background and what they do, and I think it will be a right fit for us. There you have it. Now let's start here. For those who are yet to discover you and what you do, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your background, your education, and your area of expertise, so that everybody in the audience will know who you are?
Hey there, everybody. I'm Kyle Gillette, the owner of Blue Shirt Coaching, and I am a business coach for people that are looking to break free from the limiting beliefs and the things that are creating self-sabotage in their business and in their life. I work with them on a powerful process that we call breakthrough session. It takes 6 hours to work through this, but when you are done, you are completely free of those limiting beliefs, those emotions and things that hold you back from accomplishing what you are meant to accomplish. I have certifications in various coaching modalities, NLP certification. I'm also an author, and I've been running this coaching business for 6 years. Prior to that, I worked for a men's mentoring program for 9.5 years and helped guys that were off track in life get their lives back on track so they can live the lives they're meant to live. Additionally, I worked in the HR world and ran 4 other businesses in a nonprofit. So in my experience, I've had a lot of fun working with people. It's always been the focus. So I'm excited to be here and to share about my experiences and share about my area of expertise, which is shifting your mindsets and your habits. So thanks for having me.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing that with everybody. We're just going to go straight in and start talking about the mistakes. In your opinion, in this area, having done this for so long, what is the number one mistakes that you find business owners make consistently and oftentimes unaware that they are making the mistakes? And what should they do instead?
I love this question. It's a perfect question because typically what happens is people focus on the wrong area. And if you think about our lives, we are being, doing, and having. And in my business, I talk a lot about giving. So what I say is be more, do more, have more, and give more. And in the business world, often we're focused on the acting or the having, taking action and having and getting what we want. But the reality is, if we're blocked, like I talked about in my intro, that I work with people that are having those self-sabotaging struggles and those limiting beliefs. If we're in this place where we're blocked and we're focusing on the having, we're missing the first part, which is being. If you're not being who you're meant to be, if you're not being focused on how you've been designed and doing the things you're supposed to do, because that's who you are, that's your gifting, that's your talent, then if you're just doing the doing, it's not going to be at the level that you want. So when it comes to creating the change that you want, when it comes to being the business owner that you want, having the success you want, there's 4 steps to change. And we all know that we need to change. we all know that. And one of the first step is release. We have to release our negative emotions, our limiting beliefs, and the parts of us that want to do this thing and the parts of us that want to do that thing, and then the values that aren't helping us. If we release those, then we're able to move to the next step, which is to create. And that is to create the future that you want. In other words, set your goal. Who do you want to be? Goals are like a couple layers down from who you want to be. If you were to project forward 10 years to who you want to be, well, who is that person? How are they different than who you are now? If you have all these emotions and limiting beliefs and values that don't line up, it's going to be difficult to create a future for yourself that is 10 years older, 10 years more mature, 10 years more successful, because that baggage, let's call it, is going to be getting in the way. So you got to release it, and then you can create a future that's compelling, that's exciting, that's motivating. If you've ever found yourself not very motivated, it's probably because that future that you've created doesn't fit what's going on in your head, because what's going on in your head is these limiting and frustrating emotions. And so then you can't get to that place of creativity. You can't get to that place that's congruent with yourself in terms of creating your future. The third step is act. You have to act. You have to take purposeful action towards the things that you've set for yourself. So towards that future version of yourself and the goals that you have for that future version of yourself, you have to take purposeful action and positive action. This is action that's toward success, not away from failure, toward what you want to achieve instead of running away from what you don't want anymore. We have to start from the premise that what we have right now, maybe it's not exactly what we want, but at least we can have gratitude for it and what we've learned from it. And then we want to move toward or forward to this other area. If we're really frustrated with the amount of money we make and we're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to make more money, and I'm tired of living this way, and I'm tired of experiencing business this way. That's not motivating in the long run. What's motivating in the long run is going, I appreciate how challenging it is right now because I know I'm learning from it. And as I go to new challenges, I'll have learned from these, and I get to go experience life in a different way, business in a different way. So when you act, when you take those purposeful actions, they need to be towards something, not running away from something. And lastly, focus. This one's simple in the idea that a lot of us aren't willing to admit what we want. We're afraid to admit what we want. It's like, it's a bad thing to say, I want to make $5 million. It's a bad thing to say, I want to be one of the greatest coaches in the state that I live in and possibly in the whole nation. Like, is that a bad thing? No, it's not. It's what I want. So when you think about the things that limit you and the mistakes that you may have made, I know I've made, it's the mistake of just maybe starting with the focus, what do I want, or ignoring that. Or maybe it's starting with just taking action, but forgetting to release the things that are blocking you and instead of just burying them, but actually dealing with them. Right? So that's what we need to do instead when we get to this place. And this is exactly what I do with my clients, of course. But so those 4 steps, those 4 requisites for change are release those negative emotions, limiting beliefs, those types of things. Create a compelling future for yourself now that you're free to think clearly about what that future could be, then take purposeful action towards that and finally maintain your focus on the things that you want. That will create the change that you want. That will create the success you want. And ultimately, in my world, because it's about being more, doing more, having more, and then ultimately giving more, those 4 steps will help you get to the point where you can give more of yourself, give more of your time, your talent, and your treasure, is the way I like to say it. So I love this question, and I hope you can take action on those 4 things. It's not simple or easy, I have to admit, but it works.
Yes, I can see how that would work. I'm going to say I'm guilty of that, and I'm glad you are talking about this, and everybody's going to find a way. But the key thing, Bill, if you're listening, is once you discover that this is a mistake, is the corrective measure. What are you going to do about that? And this is equally important. Let's dive in to talk about what is the mistake that most often causes business owners to fail completely in this area. And of course, let's give an answer as to what they should be doing right now, given the information that we know now in light of the expertise that you're sharing with us.
Honestly, it's something that I think we all do, and I've definitely done it. It was why 2 of my 4 businesses failed completely. And it was simple. I didn't model people around me. I didn't model the most successful and highly successful people around me. And that's why we fail. That's why when we get to this place, when it comes to running a business and when it comes to getting out of our own way, if there's anything that I'm really, really good at helping my clients with, it's helping them to get out of their own way, whether it's the self-awareness part, the accountability part, the growth part, or the empowerment. Those are the pieces that I really help my clients with, right? And the way I do it is through modeling experts. It's through modeling people that have done it really well. I've done it really well in certain areas, in certain ways, but I've combined that with experts and modeling of other people that have done it phenomenally well. And then I help my clients work through their process and adapt it to their process so that they don't make the same mistakes and they don't fail completely in running their business. They don't fail completely in getting out of their own way, really. And, because often what's happening is we're self-sabotaging. And so there's people that don't do that ever because they have modeled their business and their life in a way that's worth replicating. And when you do copy it and when you do adapt it to your life and to your business, you're not gonna screw up. You're not gonna fail. There's gonna be setbacks, but you're ultimately not gonna hit that place of complete failure. And so what I've done is I've created that framework and I put it in my book, Right Now Leadership. And the framework is BLUE, BLUE, be a self-aware leader. That's all about releasing. That's all about knowing who you are and what's in the way. And then the L is lead with accountability. So many business owners don't have enough accountability around them. And it's not that they're not accountable. It's not that they have bad ethics or anything. It's just they don't have good accountability. And so because it's missing, now when they go to do something that's kind of hard or scary, or they feel like a little bit of an imposter, they don't know how to go about it and stay motivated because they don't have that good accountability. Then the U in BLUE is use a growth mindset. The growth mindset is that create and act part that I talked about in the last question. Creating a future that they want and acting on it, right? This is where sometimes it's hard because you want to grow as a business owner. Of course you do. Whether it's personally, you want to grow just yourself, or you want to grow your income, you want to grow your revenue. Either way, you want to grow. Like we didn't get into this world of business. I didn't get into this world of business, and I didn't join into the coaching world to not help my clients grow. That doesn't make any sense. But growing is difficult. Growing is hard when you're not creating a compelling future and you're not taking the purposeful actions. And when you have a coach, when you have a guide to help you with that, and you have someone that has watched other people do it well, has done it well himself, or you can model other people that have done it really well, growth happens. And when you combine that new self-awareness, being a self-aware leader with accountability, what I found with my clients, because that's always the first 2 steps, is it inevitably growth happens. They grow, period. Now, personally, of course they grow. They become a way better leader, period. But what also happens is their business grows. I mean, we're talking 15 to 300%. It just depends on the business, but that's what I've seen with my clients. 15% revenue growth to 300% revenue growth. But it starts first with them dealing with their baggage and then them creating accountability around their business and themselves so they can stay motivated and stay moving forward. And then finally, there's empowerment. And that's empowering those around you. And I want to share more about that, but I'm going to wait for another question before I share about the empowerment part. But those are the 4 components. Be a self-aware leader, lead with accountability, use a growth mindset, and empower others. If you do that, which is really just a modeling of what I've seen out there from the experts, and there's, I dive into it deeply in my Right Now Leadership book. To me, that is the way to avoid the type of failures that I've seen in business owners. So I really appreciate this question.
My next question really is a tricky one because I'm sometimes guilty of it. And it is this. What is the mistake that often business owners make where they think in their minds they're actually doing the right thing and don't realize it's a mistake in the first place? And what should they do instead?
In general, what I said before, which was about the release, create, act, and focus, that's the thing that I think we get wrong, is we do the doing before we do any sort of being. My goal for my clients is that, like I said before, they could be more, do more, have more, and give more. And in this culture, it's difficult for some to not start with the have more or just start with the do more. And that's a better starting point, the do more at least. But some people, they just want to get all the stuff. They buy all the equipment for their business, or they do all the things they think are right, but they haven't modeled it. Like I was saying in the previous question, they haven't modeled it after people that are experts. So really, what should they do instead? If you want to be a truly successful business owner, you have to start with being more of who you're supposed to be, dealing with all the stuff that's in your head, that's in the way, all the stuff, all the emotions and the limiting beliefs and the imposter syndrome. You got to deal with that first. If you do that, now you're going to be doing the right thing. And now you're going to be moving forward at a way faster pace because you're aware of what's blocking you. You're aware of what's in your own way and how you're often in your own way. But then you can do something about it, especially when you bring an expert along to help you with it. So I would suggest to avoid that, to avoid doing the wrong thing and kind of crushing what's possible for you as a leader, for you and your business, or both. Create that awareness. And I already mentioned it's pretty straightforward the way you can do it. It takes time, it takes energy, but you got to let go of that stuff that's in your way in order to get there.
Wow. That certainly is an eye opener. And glad that you touched on that for sure. Let's talk about, maybe go a little bit further. Are there any other major mistakes that, we need to let our community of business owners know about? I know, of course, because of the constraints of time, we won't be able to go into greater details. We'll do that in the community, of course. But are there any major mistakes that you think and feel business owners need to know about right now in this area, of course?
I think a huge mistake that a lot of business owners make is on the empowerment side. And empowerment to me is the give more side of the equation that I love to talk about. So if I'm being more of who I'm meant to be, in other words, be a self-aware leader, and then I'm doing more, which is that accountability side, then I can have more, which is the growing part, then that means I can give more. Well, the give more in business is empowerment. It's empowering those around you. And there's 5 steps to it. And I'll keep this brief. But the first is expectations, setting expectations. An expectation meaning you expect the people that work with you to be amazing, to be brilliant, to be insightful, to be creative, to be worth what they're paid, and probably worth even more. Now, how many business owners start with that assumption? Expect people to be amazing, expect people to be successful. If you start there, it twists, it turns the way your brain looks at them, the way your brain thinks about them. And now you're grabbing that information that's coming at you about them that proves you to be right, that you should expect have high expectations of them. And you can pursue that with them because they're going to prove you to be right every time because you're looking for those things, and that's going to motivate them to continue moving forward. So first, you have to set a high expectation. Second, study. You got to study them. And I don't mean study psychology. Yes, that's helpful. But I mean study the people that you work with. When you study the people that you work with, now you understand how they tick. First of all, you find them to have high expectations of them, which makes you more interested in them, creates that curiosity. And then after that, you study them. What makes them think the way they think? What makes them ask the questions that they ask? How come they have this type of problem that they deal with all the time? Or how come they solve things this way? Whatever it is, you learn them. And when you learn them, then it's easier to get to the third step of empowerment, which is listening and asking powerful questions. So you start with being fascinated by them, by expecting them to produce great results, high expectations, and making sure they know that. Then you study them. You pay attention. You walk around. You talk to them on the phone. You talk to them on Zoom, however you're leading these people in your life. And it doesn't have to be just business. And then the third step is listening, right? Listening and asking great questions. And I'll give you one question to consider. And it's 4 words. So you should probably be able to remember it pretty easy. I've asked this question of my clients, and I've asked them to ask this question of their employees. And they always come back to me a little bit shocked at the results that it provides. And it's, like I said, 4 words, very simple. Someone brings you a problem, and instead of you being Superman and answering the question for them, providing that solution, you simply ask, what do you think? That's it. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? That's interesting. Well, what do you think? That type of question unlocks powerful insight from them. And then they start to shift. They start to shift the way that they see themselves in the business. Because again, you've already have high expectations of them. You already understand them way better because you've studied them. Now you're asking them really good questions to empower them. And then now there's ownership. Now there's accountability there. There's this level of ownership and respect for their job. So on the 4th step, you've created that. Now empowerment is really about this accountability, making sure that they stay accountable. But because they've come up with a lot of the solutions instead of you, they will be accountable just automatically because it was their decision. Instead of you telling them what to do, they came up with it. That is huge. And it relieves the burden on you to always have all the answers. And then sometimes, actually, in most cases, in my experience, my clients can then stop having to answer all those questions because the employee, the manager, supervisor, director, whatever role they're in, answers them themselves and does the work. And it's great. And so when they bring you a problem, it's a real situation that matters. And that problem is something that is worth collaborating on instead, right? So you get these bigger situations, not necessarily bad situations, but just bigger, like more creative, more opportunity laden. So then the last piece is to celebrate. Celebrate the successes and celebrate the setbacks. Okay. Do that. So the 5 steps again are expect them to be successful. Expect them to have insights and brilliance. Number 2, study them really, really closely and really well and understand them, the nuances of who they are as a person. Number 3, listen well and ask powerful questions. Number 4, help them to stay accountable. They're going to be that already if you've done the first 3 steps, but there's some parts that you get to play. And then finally, celebrate the successes and setbacks. Those are the things that this is the major mistake that business owners make is they forget that they have a team. You have a team, and that team can be phenomenal if you empower them. And those are the 5 steps to make it happen.
Awesome. And as we're coming toward the end of our time together here, is there anything else I've not asked you about in this area that you strongly feel that it will be appropriate to share and will be great for people to know about?
One other thing I would say here is listening. I know I already said that, but think about the last time that you went to your business, you went to work with your employees, hang out with friends or family, and you listened 80% of the time. That's my challenge for you. After saying everything that I said, I would challenge you to listen 80% of the time and talk and ask questions 20% of the time. Give it a day. Try one day where you listen for 80% and you talk and ask questions 20% of the time. So in a 10-minute conversation, 80% of the time, you are listening and deeply paying attention. 20% of the time, you might be asking a question or talking, right? Give it a shot. See how that feels for you. It'll probably be a little bit uncomfortable, but you'll find some really interesting insights, especially if you start with the idea, the expectation that this person is really interesting and they have powerful things to say.
Wow. Outstanding. Outstanding. A lot of great information there, a lot of things that we are discovering. Well, I want to say thank you so much for spending time with us here. What a great interview, great conversation we've just had. And I never want to finish off without giving you an opportunity to share with everybody where people can find further information or connect with you. Could you tell us a little bit more about your website or even your social media so that we can connect with you there?
Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on this show. I really appreciate it. The best way to connect with me is visiting blueshirtcoaching.com. And on there, you'll find my book. You can also download my freebie, which if you go to blueshirtcoaching.com/MOLO, that's MOLO. It's a breakdown of how to spend time at the end of your week reflecting on the things that you did well, the things you didn't do too well, the things you want to keep pursuing, stop pursuing, that type of thing. It's a 5-step process, and I walk you through. It's really powerful and helpful for creating that first step, which is that being a self-aware leader. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is check out my book, blueshirtcoaching.com/book. It's also on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, various other retailers. You could find it on there. Really appreciate that. And then if you want to connect with me directly, you can go to my LinkedIn account. Just look up Kyle Gillette, and also on Instagram at blueshirtcoaching. You can find me there. But otherwise, just thank you so much for listening to what I had to say. I appreciate you, and I hope you walked away with some powerful insights that will help you personally and also help your business move forward.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to know more, there are links below. And what a great conversation we've had here. And I know many of you will want to have follow-up questions and want more answers and maybe engage, our guest services. And the best place to be doing that is go and find out in our community. So if you're not yet a member of our community, click the link below and you'll be taken directly into an area where you can create your own account. Download the app on your phone and you'll be able to talk to our guests directly, and they will be coming back to you. They'll be able to answer your questions straight away. Very easy and straightforward. Or if you have been a member of our community and haven't been in there for a long time, well, this may be the appropriate time to go back, re-engage and reconnect with other incredible members of our community in there. And truly, this has been outstanding. Would you, in a moment, when I finish off, share with everybody how you will be helping people in the community in the weeks and even months or even in years to come as a result of this shortly? So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Until next time, as we always say here, never leave a place of discovering a new concept or discovering what you ought to do or what you ought not to do without scheduling a time when you're going to implement that. Because it's a proven fact that if you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. Life is going to take over. So we want you to do that. And when you have scheduled it, let everybody know in the community, and we will support you. We're cheering you on, and we truly believe in your goals. And when you are working on your goals, it makes me personally very, very happy, because that's the reason why we do what we are doing. So go into the community and do your very, very best. And again, access those leadership training, podcast training, and everything else that we've got going in there. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, live well, live with passion. Know that the best is truly yet to come. Thank you for tuning in to Yeukai Business Show. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode and have gained valuable insight and inspiration from our amazing guest. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review to help us spread the word. Also, be sure to check out our Leadership Ultimate Success Mastermind program, which is designed to help you and leaders in our community to do great things and support each other along their leadership journey. Until next time, live well, live with passion, know that the best is truly yet to come.